Welcome to Nowra Speedway, just 2 hours south of Sydney, for the AMX Superstores Australian Motocross Invitational, featuring Motocross Skins, freestyle and monster truck action. I'm Lee Hogan, alongside former Supercross and Motocross star Danny Ham. Now Danny, I tell you, we're in for some super exciting action here. This is going to be short, sharp, intense. There's only 5 riders on the grid make it into the final, and $20,000 up for grabs. Some serious prize money.
Wow, we don't see this every day, do we, anymore in motocross. So for the fact that there is $5,000 on the line, that is going to draw out a lot of big riders and really get that fire burning within them to try and make sure they get a good piece of that at the end of the night.
For sure. And now the format, the races, 3 minutes plus a lap. They're not used to this kind of short, intense racing.
No, we're so used to the motocross scene being half-hour motos. You know, it's something that the riders are able to go out there and, you know, build up through the race. They don't have that luxury here. They have to be on it from the absolute drop of the gate. And there's a few riders that we know can do that, and then there's some other guys that take some time to get going. So this will be really interesting to test them all out and see who can perform in that pressure straight off the gate.
And we're only a handful of weeks away from round 1 of the Pro MX series. We've got some big names here today.
Oh, we do. Cloudy, our national champion, he is here, and we're seeing that a lot this year, that we got a lot of these big names getting out and trying to do some races, a little bit of race prep. You can practice as much as you like on the practice track, but you know, I know you can't beat race time. So anytime they get out on the track like this is perfect practice for that series.
All right, well, on that note, let's take a look at the track.
The Motocross Skins event today is going to throw some different elements to the riders. What we're usually seeing in motocross, 40 riders on a gate, something completely different here. We've only got 5 riders on the gate for each race. So it's going to really show the importance of getting yourself out to a good start early on and getting into that first turn first.
Now, without a doubt, one of the most technical parts of the track here at the Motocross Skins event is this back-to-back swamp canyon that I've got right behind me here. There is no roll-through option. If you muck it up, you have to go back and do it again. Now, the first one behind me, it's not too much of an issue. There's a nice run-up. However, the second one out of this next corner, it's not much of a run-up. You have to leave yourself a little bit open in the corner prior. If you cop a bump in the corner by another rider, or you make a little bit of a mistake and slide sideways, you're going to have to go back and do it again. Almost looks like a little bit of a National Geographic nature show going on behind us here.
So we opened up our track preview saying that there's a few different elements that are going to be thrown into this one, something we're not used to seeing. Now, we are at a speedway, so of course they're going to include some of this speedway track. Now, it's really hard, slippery, and it's going to be very fast coming into this corner, a pinpoint corner, to say the least. You're going to be sliding into it, backing in, and it's going to open you up to a lot of different chances for people to come up the inside of you, especially being the last turn before the finish, and possibly take that position away from you. And if you get this corner wrong, then the next part over this jump is going to be very hard to get over.
Now, Danny's just explained how riders are going to be coming in, drifting sideways, speedway style, into this final corner before the finish line jump. But here's where it bumps up another notch. There's 19 metres from the inside of the corner to the top of the takeoff ramp where I'm standing right now. But there's 20 metres between here and the top of the landing ramp. A monster double we have here for the finish line. Now, that's not so much of an issue for the big 450cc machines, but for the little 250s, that could pose a bit of a problem. And we may see some of them leaving the door open, getting a little bit of extra run up for this jump here on the final corner. Could be some good passing opportunities coming. Another very cool part of the Motocross Skins. Well, there's a little bit of an insight into our track here today at Motocross Skins. It's time now to have a bit of a chat with our riders.
Yeah, off-season's been good for me. I've really been working hard on and off the bike. Obviously, you know, the championship was cut short a little bit last year, but, you know, we got the 1 plate, so a little bit more pressure on the back, but I'm enjoying it and I've been working harder than ever, I feel.
It's been really good, honestly. As you can see behind me, I've made the switch to the factory KTM 250 for KTM Australia, and honestly, it's just been a breath of fresh air for me. I've never had an orange machine under me before, so honestly, it's just all new to me, but exciting, and it's just been great to learn and sort of make relationships with new people, so it's been great.
You know, on the question of build-up last year, I felt really good, and then I went to Kingaroy in Queensland and broke my shoulder blade 2 weeks before, so that sort of set me back. But I did have a different attitude. You know, when you want to win that bad, so when things just don't go right, it sort of snowballs. When I won my championships, I felt like I just let it come to me. I knew I'd done the work. Last year I was struggling with working and training and riding and keeping up on top of my bike. So this year I've managed to get a couple of good sponsors that this year I won't have to work as much, so I can train. And this year I've actually dedicated a lot of training, like compared to last year, that's for sure.
It's been awesome for me. Signed the deal late last year. I got my bikes at the end of last year, and I got to come down and spend 2 weeks with the team in December, and it was awesome. Like, everything's been going well so far. Been enjoying the pre-season, and they've been doing everything they can for me. Yeah, like obviously everyone's rivals out there. It just happened to be, you know, Hayden came off CDR and I moved in, so it is a bit of coincidence. But same as we race each other as hard as we always do. Doesn't really add that extra bit of rivalry, to be honest. But you know, I'm happy that I'm on CDR. You know, it's one of the top-notch teams in Australia. So it's where I'm at in my career. It's a really good move for me.
This race in particular is just going to be a great event. I think I've never done it before. The Skins, where there's such short racing and such a good calibre of riders, so that's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, look, it's definitely different to what, you know, the Pro MX is going to be. Obviously, we're training for half-an-hour motos and things like that, and obviously even the sprint races that we have are a lot longer. So for us, it's a different race, but it's good for us as well. We're going to get a lot of starts tonight, so we get to see where we're at with that and just use this as a bit of a session, and looking forward to round one.
Yeah, I guess it's a bit different for all of us as riders. It's, you know, you're not going from the big motocross tracks to the small arena cross, supercross tracks. It's, you know, a bit of both. So hopefully, I think it's going to make for some, you know, bit of tight bar banging racing, which will be pretty fun for us and good for the viewers as well.
If anything, it's going to benefit me because in our national, sometimes I tend to lag a little bit for the first 10 minutes. But it has been something that we've been working on, and you know, obviously this race is just a fun event, so it's just going to be good to keep working on those sort of things that I'm not amazing at. So yeah, it's going to be good to get out there and throw down.
Well, great to have a bit of a chat there with some of our superstars here today. Now it's time to have a quick look at some of our heat highlights. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the AMX Superstores Australian Motocross Invitational. We, of course, have got the Motocross Skins, a short, sharp and intense form of motocross. I'm Lee Hogan, joined by Danny Ham.
So we take a look at the crowd. Big crowd here tonight at Nowra. Great to see everyone's out enjoying this quite different sort of racing that we're not really used to as we go down to the line for the next of our heats. And we got some big names in this one, Lee.
That's correct. Heat number 3, 30-second board's already up. Dylan Wills, Blake Fox, Nathan Crawford and Reed Taylor. All 4 of these riders are absolute guns. Keep your eyes peeled.
Wow, outside somehow read that gate drop beautifully, but it's Dylan Wills that's going to push up the inside. Actually, look at Crawford. Wow, up the inside, a little tap right there. Crawford unable to do it. And Wills pulls up a little bit short. They're all searching for that grip at the moment. And who's going to come out with this one?
That was a beautiful aggressive pass from Dylan Wills up the inside of Reed. And he makes the pass stick and holds the lead. Now, off the side of the track, but still manages to, a tap of the front brake right there, ladies and gentlemen. What we saw was Nathan Crawford tapped his front brake accidentally on the tough block coming into the corner. Instant wash out of the front wheel and down she goes.
Yeah, this here is the fastest of our MX2 guys, isn't it? These really flying at the moment. Dylan Wills, these kind of conditions and this sort of race is something that Wills thrives on, doesn't he? He loves to get out and just run straight from the gate drop. And I think it's going to suit him down to the tee. By the end of this night, he will be a major contender. A little bit short, though, that time.
Yeah, correct. And Blake Reed, back there in second place, Blake Reed, he manages to get out nice and quickly on just about all races. We saw it last year in a couple of the Pro MX rounds. Doesn't finish quite as strong, but gets good starts and super aggressive. And that's what we're seeing. He's all over the back now of Dylan Wills and trying to make a pass.
Nice and tight. These guys have been watching exactly where these previous riders have been, and that tight line has certainly showed itself to be one of the favourite at the moment. You see these bikes flipping over the tops of these jumps. They're scrubbing it, trying to keep as low as they can and keep that momentum going. A massively wide line there by our second place rider. And it just loses so much out there.
Yeah, getting a little bit creative with the lines, but what starts out as wide and then comes back in, as you can see, is back right on the back end of Dylan Wills once again. Of course, that's Reed Taylor in second place, my bad. So pressure is well and truly on, and as these riders know, the races are so short, only 3 minutes plus a lap. So if you're going to make something happen, you need to set it up and you need to be aggressive and make it happen and make the pass stick. You can't afford to make a pass and then leave the door open and then have it flip back over once again.
Flat track part right there, it really is showing the guys that are comfortable with letting those tyres lose a bit of grip and start to slide around as they both search for that outside line, trying to get some kind of extra drive. It seems to have worked from both that time around, but this is probably the closest we've seen Reed Taylor in this part of the track, so may be able to push for a spot.
Well, he's really trying to force the issue at the moment, and these two have stretched out a massive lead over third and fourth place. This is what Motocross Skins is all about. The battling that we're seeing here and how short and intense this racing is. Reed Taylor trying to make a pass up the inside. Dylan Wills would be feeling this pressure. Ooh. Goes from the outside back to the inside. Tags the back wheel and nearly goes down.
Wow, very close, but this is the intensity that you need to ride with if you want to be up the front in these races. The one thing I did see is a shot a second ago is just how far back Nathan Crawford was after that one very simple little crash. Just shows you cannot make those mistakes in this type of racing.
No, you blink and it's over. And as we say that, Dylan Wills now approaches the finish line, checkered flag out, and a very impressive win for Dylan Wills over Reed Taylor, taking second place.
Reed Taylor really starting to shine this year, isn't he?
Once again, we have got a sensational race, and we take a look down and we see some of the biggest names in our sport in Australia. Yokoyama, the Japanese rider on the far left, and next to him, carrying that big #1 plate and all the pressure that comes along with it, Luke Cloud on the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha.
Right next to him is Matt Moss, the 102, and of course we did see 3 of these riders already out there. They are still on the 250s. They are allowed to jump up a class into the 450s as well, exactly what they've done. But I tell you, Lee, it's going to be tough to beat that power and drive out of this gate as they are ready to launch. Who will jump out first?
Well, great
Mossy.
jump and a little bit of a rolling start there.
Oh, Mossy blocking straight away.
Yes, and almost tagging the rear end there was Luke Cloud. And you can see, you just almost can see the fire between these two. There's so much to prove between these two, and you're about to see it unleashed right now.
Oh, this will be a good race. It's going to be so much fun to watch towards the end, especially as they try and get that traction down to the ground. But what a start it was from Mossy. Now, both of these riders out front, these are both typically riders that love to get out there, even in the big, long motocross motos, they love to get out there in the first couple of laps and put some fast sprint laps down.
Yeah, they sure do. They're not your, let's say, Brett Metcalf or a Todd Waters type of rider. They just get better as the race goes on. Both of these riders, and well, Jai Constantino's managed to get a little bit of baggage along there as he's clipped a tough block on the way through. But you're exactly right, Hammy. We've got 2 riders that love getting good starts. They're sprinters, and of course, you know, Mossy in his day was one of the fittest that could go the whole race without fading at all. Luke Cloud, it doesn't really get any higher in the pinnacle of our sport. So it'll be interesting to see how these two go. It looks like Matt Moss has got off to a slightly cleaner start, especially in this corner right here. He seems to be getting out a little bit cleaner.
Early days in the night for these riders. They are searching for these lines. Something is, they're starting to develop. There's a lot of hard parts on the track. We've got, man, you see the roost off the front wheel there, simply from the scrub that Cloud did, that front wheel sliding all the way up the ramp. As I was saying, the rider's still looking for those lines, and we will see some new lines develop as Mossy really struggling for traction coming out of that turn.
Yeah, it was a clear mistake there from Mossy. It's put Luke Cloud right onto the back of him, and he's searching left, searching right, trying to find a passing opportunity. He's only going to have to give him one spot, and he's going to make the pass if he can, but drifting a little bit sideways there was Luke Cloud. Oh, he's trying to find that spot. Now, you might think to yourself, this is only just a qualifying heat. Does it really matter all that much? Well, let's remember that only 3 riders make it through into the final straight from the qualifying heat. The top 3 point scorers make it straight into the final. And we've got some big guns in multiple heats here. So every single heat and the maximum amount of points that you can score are going to give you the best possible chance of getting straight through into that final.
Have a look at this line by Clout. Oh, he tried to search for an inside line just there, but Mossy is very smart. He keeps that line covered. The last time through him, Clout outside again.
And he cuts back to the right here and tries to set it up to the inside on this left, but it's very slippery. So Clout has totally changed his line and he found a lot more traction there. That was a great line.
Just searching at the moment, isn't he? This is a really hard spot for Moss to beat.
Oh,
nice little bump there by
Bump and
Clout.
run. Wow, and this is going to get the horns coming out of the helmet for Matt Moss. Let's see if he has a response for the #1 plated Yamaha rider.
Well, Cloudy would want to make sure that door is closed up very much coming down to any of these turns.
Especially this next left-hander where, well, Moss is trying to go outside and come back the inside. He wanted it. He wanted it, and there's the checkered flag. A last lap pass and sensational win. And a little bit of a hand, a little bit of a sorry about that. I'm not sorry, but sorry.
We're only just getting started. Make sure you don't go anywhere. Plenty more to come.
Welcome back to the AMX Superstores Australian Motocross Invitational. Not just Motocross skins tonight, we've also got freestyle action, we've got monster trucks, and now it's time to get back to the racing.
We get set for the next round of our big boys. The 450s, some 250s included. Moss all the way to the outside. I thought the inside was going to be the preferred gate, but so far we've seen a lot come from that outside.
All right, let's keep our eyes peeled, see who's going to jump out of the gate. We'll watch for that first movement. Great start from Moss from the outside. He's just like a rocket ship out of the gate tonight, and it doesn't seem to matter what grid he's starting from. However, he has got another Yamaha rider right behind him, Aaron Tanti, who is very, very keen to prove his worth to the CDR Yamaha Monster Energy team. He's all over the back. That was a beautiful line there from Tanti, and he's going to be able to set up something hopefully here in this next corner. A beautiful inside there from Moss, protecting himself very well. However, I think it's only a matter of time. Tanti is just on rails at the moment, Danny Ham.
He controls that inside line right there, and he has moved himself into the lead. I wanted to mention just a second ago that the 48 machine of Baldwin wanted to waste no time at all, just landing off that finish line first lap, squeezed up the inside of both of those 250s and put himself up into third place as well.
Now, I think what we're seeing here is all the riders at this level, they know how to do a flat corner, and they know how to do it well. They've all been through schools when they were younger. They know you lean the bike over, your body stays up and down, not too aggressive on the throttle, etc., etc. However, what we're seeing, and particularly here with Aaron Tanti, is the better that you are with flat corners, the tighter you can keep your turn without drifting wide. And that was his beautiful pass that he set up on Matt Moss. Mossy trying to do the same here. He's trying to return the favour.
And you notice also going into the corners. So Tanti had the luxury of being able to move around on the back wheel of Moss that first lap. When you're in the lead, you do have to control and cover just a little bit your lines. You aren't able to move around as much as you want to. We see Moss right now running out wide, trying to get that swing around so he can come back up to the inside. Probably won't work going into this corner, but certainly as we get to the 2 creek jumps, he's running those outside, trying to swing back so that he can get to the inside.
Well, I like that line before the finish line jump that Moss is taking. He's keeping his tyres in some nice grippy dirt, and if you have a look when we get back and another lap gets logged into the books, if you have a look at the colour of the dirt, you can see if you're in a certain part of the track, how if it's a little bit darker, the colour of the dirt, there's a little bit more traction there.
Moss working hard to get that drive down to the back wheel through that part. Always closes in through here with those big jumps. He sits right on the outside, but it's going to be a bit tough. Can he swing back to the inside here? No, still runs it out
Here's
very
where
wide.
He comes out to his nice bit of traction right there, and he'll try to set it up and cut back up the inside.
Wow, what a drive he got out of there then, but Tanti should control this to the inside. He does. But Moss, I tell you, he's got a good line right there. And that is one of the very good things with Moss. He knows how to find new lines.
And also, being all over the back of our race leader at the moment, he can see the spots where he's a little bit faster than Tanti and possibly set it up. Now, I'm interested to see what Tanti does at the end of the next lap when we come across that same corner, to see if he slightly adjusts his line to try to cover, because if he does go out wide, that leaves right up the inside, opens the door up for Matt Moss. And we're coming to that section right now. Let's see what plays out.
Moss again, plenty of momentum around the outside. Picks up that nice dark dirt, as you mentioned. Oh, even that the banner's on the inside, but it's just a little bit too late, and Aaron Tanti will come across with the win. It just shows the desperation, though, that these races are absolutely delivering.
Yes, Yokoyama on the far outside. He's been jumping out of the gate exceptionally well, Hammy. Let's see if he can jump out from grid number 5.
Starts all important. Crawford really needs to get himself a good one here and try and run away with it, but we will wait to see how this one pans out.
Yokoyama got out really good, but he ducked off to the right-hand side. He still managed to somehow get the whole shot, though. Jai Constantinos, why did Jai not jump that jump? He exited absolutely fine out of that corner.
Maybe we can't see it. Maybe there's a line there, a bump or something. Maybe that's what caused the crash with Melross earlier on. He was on that outside, exactly the same spot. I'm only hypothesizing right at the moment. I don't know, but yeah, you're right. He should have, we feel, he should have been able to jump it from where he was.
What a beautiful line there on the inside. And not only did he protect himself, but Yokoyama just pulled out a good half a second there on Nathan Crawford. Now, this is going to be a great battle, I believe. And don't quote me on this, because at the moment it looks like Yokoyama's starting to stretch it out. However, history tells me that Nathan Crawford will find his form and latch on to the back of our race leader. And what I think we're going to find is the master protector, our race leader at the moment, Yokoyama. He loves to protect the inside on those flat corners, and it's very difficult to pass him. And then we've got Nathan Crawford, who is such an aggressive rider who will try anything he can to make the pass.
Really good throttle control there by Yokoyama out in the lead. And you're right, this inside here keeps it nice and tight. Does not
traction
idling around there. It's incredible.
The that is spectacular. And once again, stretch the lead out. These guys need to take a leaf out of his book.
Fast isn't always quick. It's exactly what we see there. It's very fast to go around the outside, but you lose time.
Well, and that's one thing that Nathan Crawford needs to do. He needs to realise to himself, okay, I'm coming in fairly close to the back of Yokoyama here. I can see his green back fender. Okay, he's taken a very tight line here. Surely that's got to be slow. Well, no, by the time we come out of that big sweeper, I can't see him anymore. He's gone. He needs to latch onto that idea and change his line up a little bit. So let's see if this lap Nathan Crawford can change up his line on this upcoming left-hander that we're about to see right now.
You see the drive then of Yokoyama, even in that corner, just how much more drive traction he has on that rear wheel, just sticking to the ground. But that's one of the things that, to be a top-level rider, you need to be able to change like that. You need to be able to adjust, adapt, and make those changes straight away. You can't wait 5 laps to do it. It's got to happen within the next lap.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of our sport. It's not like road racing where the track remains the same all the time. It changes every single lap. And I remember a race, a Supercross many years ago that you and I were commentating at Newcastle. Chad Reed had come over from America. I always admired Reedy being that first one to be able to spot when one of the whoops was a little bit low, and he'd be the first to launch in and stop skimming across the top of them, and then everyone else would catch on to it. So there's an absolute art form in being able to be one of those first people to find things on a track.
Crawford eventually. Now, yeah, he's seen the line. He's still a little bit wide, but he had the idea that time around. So it'll certainly help him. He's a lot closer.
Closer this time.
A lot closer. This could be a charge into the last turn. It's going to be desperate, I tell you. But he may be able to do it. Yokoyama stays really tight. As we go down to the checkered flag right here, Crawford looks to the switch under outside. You can't do it from there.
It's very difficult to make that pass. It looks like, oh, surely he's going to be able to get the over and under move happening. However, it's not as easy as that. Sensational victory for Yokoyama, and very well deserved. He earned that, and sensational lines. He really holds his insides exceptionally well. And our matchup, once again, between the two big guns who seem to be on fire tonight, Luke Clout and Matt Moss. And I believe it's really going to come down to the start here. Who's going to jump out of the gate? They've both been jumping out exceptionally well. but Matt Moss seems to, doesn't matter where he is on the gate. He got a whole shot from grid 5 before. You're a better man than me if you'd be prepared to put money on either of these two against the other one.
Can Clout get the launch over Moss?
Well, we're about to find out, and as you mentioned, it's super important to pick the right gate that has a nice straight rut coming out. Who's going to get the jump? Keep your eye on the number 1 and the number 102.
Mossy with a roller.
Yeah, he got a great jump out of the gate, and a little bit of a mistake from Clout. He needs to be careful he doesn't tag the back of Mossy there, but this is what we like to see. You can see the traction.
Oh, Mossy. It's very much covering the lines.
Very much covering the lines. And now, this is where Luke Clout back in second place. He's going to realise that it's not going to be an easy pass. He's not going to, oh, that was a beautiful line there. It's not off the side of the track. It just keeps you extra low. So let's see if he can set something up. He's extra wide here. Tight. Mossy kept it very tight and Speedway style from Clout around the outside.
Look at the difference there.
That didn't work. Whoa, very, very slippery there for Clout. And that did not work for him. He's going to have to change that next time around.
Moss looking very aggressive in these ones, still running that wide line. Remember, he had a nice line here, but that's a second place line, not a first place line.
That's right, and a mistake from Mossy. He's had a bit of a look over and Clout's right there. So another chance to rebound and I guess launch another challenge. He needs to be careful that he doesn't waste his opportunities, because if you make a mistake and you fall off the back, it can sometimes take another full lap to get back onto the back of someone like Matt Moss. You can't just click your fingers and all of a sudden be back there.
Well, out wide swing in, exactly what Clout wanted to do.
Yes.
We could see it coming, but Moss was all over it.
He's protecting his inside there exceptionally well, to his credit.
To his credit, absolutely. He learned from the first race. It's exactly the line that Clout made the pass on the first time. And Moss has been inside nice and tight ever since. Okay, now he has freedom to use that line and swing back that we saw earlier on. Back end stepping out still a little bit just there.
Yeah, a little bit here. And this is where Luke Clout doesn't have any traffic in front of him. This is basically just an all-out sprint. Beautiful exit speed out of that rut from Luke Clout. And almost just like that, at the click of a fingers, he almost finds himself immediately onto the back of the 102 machine.
Nice drive then. Oh, did he get over that jump okay? Because he just wheelied it.
Yes, he did somehow. Wow. That could have been nasty, and we didn't see the end result of that, but that could have been.
Yeah, imagine if he wheelied just over the top of that up ramp and dropped his front wheel into the reeds.
The front wheel into the swamp.
Well, Matt Moss has only got a couple more laps in this one to try and hold out this quite a large charge by Luke Clout there on the number 1 machine. Moss doing very well to hold those lines.
That right there is Luke Clout's corner. That's where he makes up his time. That exit of the corner is keeping it a bit tighter, and I think he's found some nice grippy dirt, and he's also flying out of that right-handed rut right there. Once we get into this Speedway sort of style section of the track, it seems to be a little bit more even, a little bit more difficult to pass.
Nice drive again by Moss there. Holds it nice and tight into the inside here, not allowing anything. Oh, see that little groove that he found?
Yes.
Just opened up that bit of traction, and that could be all that was needed for Moss in this one. It's going to take a lot right now.
Yeah, so Clout's part of the track is the corner before the finish and the corner after the finish, the rutted turn. Moss's turn is the big sweeping Speedway turn. He always seems to just extract that lead even a little bit further.
He's conceded. So Matt Moss with a great win right there. A bit of a goon over the finish line, but he is able to hold off the charge by Clout that time around. So we are setting ourselves up for a brilliant, brilliant final race when we throw the other side of these competitors at them as well. We're into the second one of this round again for the MX1 class. Stike has been blistering out of the start. Tandy with a good one the last time around. I'd like to see Yokoyama on the outside on that little bike just blow around the outside of him. He could possibly do it.
Well, Tanti is by rights in a bit of a league of his own here. He just needs to jump out well, and he should be okay. And he should be extremely confident. A great jump out of the gate from Tanti. Stike also on the outside. He's been jumping out really good tonight, Stike.
Is that bike pretty stock by the looks of it as well?
Yes, I believe it is. I think it looks to me almost like he stopped at his local Shell service station and bought some white duct tape and put some numbers on the bike, and they're just stock standard backgrounds there. So he's out having an absolute blast on exactly what you say. It looks to be like a stock standard machine.
Certainly a stock pipe on the back, and it really doesn't look like much is done. So he's just out here riding on experience right now and getting himself up the front every time.
Yeah, he's jumping out of the gates really good. And for someone who, for years now, has been specialising in the National Outdoor Enduro Championships where we don't have a drop of the gates, right? So his starting gates, I think he's just remembering back to his Serco Yamaha days where he was the best lights rider in the country and obviously good at jumping out of the gates, but I don't think I've ever seen him in his career jump out quite this good.
He's doing very well to stay in front of some of these massive names of motocross here. Aaron Tenty, the CDR, Monster Energy Yamaha.
Beautiful.
Nice little switch back there as he's looking to try and make something happen. But real key is that drive out of those corners, isn't it? You need to get that traction, make that back wheel stop spinning, even in that corner.
That was a very nice line, and if it wasn't for Stike's awesome technique on that flat corners, that would have been a certain pass for Tanti up the inside. Now,
here we go.
We can't quite see, but we're just managing to see some...
a setup.
That was beautiful.
Oh, Stike, though.
Replying
Look at
the
his,
best way possible, having a bit of a look over. I've just been given word, Hammy, that we're starting to see some raindrops out there now. As to whether it's just a little rain shower that's starting to drop or as to whether we've got a little bit of a storm about to come. But can you imagine how slippery this track would be if we got any form of decent rain?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a nice corner from Tanti. He's setting something up here, but Stike will be all over this. That was poetry in motion right there. That was spectacular.
Feet up, Ermolenko stuff right there. That was beautiful to watch. And Tanti moves himself into the lead. We saw the pressure over the last couple of laps. It looked like it was inevitable, but Stike just rebounded so beautifully that last lap around. And right now, Tanti heads towards the finish line area. Will we see the last lap board? Yes, there it is right there. So only one to go right now, as there is Stike, still sits in second.
He pulled a little tear off there.
Constantino, not far.
Not too bad at all. He's doing quite well. What I liked from Stike, though, was when Tanti came past, made the beautiful pass coming into that last corner, and Luke Stike threw a little bit of salt and pepper on it, come straight back up the inside once again.
You've got to do that sometimes. Great ride. But Tanti is looking very comfortable on the Yamaha. And you know what? I think, just thinking back to last year, I don't reckon I've seen him so comfortable. He looks really good on that bike at the moment.
He does look great. And like I said to you earlier, he's so comfortable on these flat corners. He's really loose on the bike. He's got good throttle control. And we saw that last year with him on the gas. So as he comes up over the finish line, a terrific victory here. He'll be happy with that. I'm hoping we'll see this kind of smoothness, technique, and his fine form translate into Pro MX Series once the championships gets up and running. We'll be right back with the finals, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the AMX Superstores Australian Motocross Invitational. It is finals time. We have got MX3, MX2 and MX1. So, is it now time? Main event time. Is this the first of the main events, guys? We are looking at MX3 down on the starting line, and Byron Dennis has managed to give himself grid number 2. Just to the right-hand side of him is Giles Campbell, the winner of the last qualifying heat, and on the far outside, of course, the number 292, who did such a sensational job in the first heat getting a win, is Cooper Nicholson. Who's going to come out on top here? I think it's going to come down to the start with these three.
It's interesting to look at where they're sitting on those grades at the moment as Campbell hypes himself up. He's sitting a long way back. You can see it there, his back wheel almost right at the back. I suspect that he is going to be looking to get a bit of a roll in. Again, you got that room there. You're allowed to do that roll in, but you've got to time it right. And these gates have been pretty consistent, so there is the roll in right there, but he stopped just a fraction short. Oh. Dennis with a good jump out.
Great jump out of the gate from Dennis. Campbell not too bad as well.
Oh, Campbell tries to squeeze it.
That's all she wrote. Unfortunately, it's going to be almost impossible to come from that far back. And even Nicholson was forced to roll that double. And that is devastating for their hopes to try to latch onto the back of Byron Dennis. Now, Dennis is smart enough to be able to slot into and have a little bit of a look over his shoulder and see that he's got a little bit of a gap now, and he doesn't have to take protective lines. He can take his race lines, hopefully not make too many mistakes, and it'll be business as usual for the Gas rider.
Oh no, again, just in the bottom of the screen there.
He's got no choice but to go back.
Around. Yeah, so
get eaten by the swamp monster.
It's all fallen apart, unfortunately.
The wheels have fallen off for Giles Campbell.
As we see Byron Dennis looking comfortable at the moment. But I tell you, Nicholson is looking good at the moment back there in second place as well. He hasn't dropped back too far at the moment. How many laps are we going to get in this final?
Well, there we see first of the main laps in the book here. And Byron Dennis continues to log in laps and stretch out that lead ever so slightly. Back there in second place, Cooper Nicholson is trying everything he can to try to get up close enough to turn this into a race. Even if you can't get close enough to make a pass, sometimes the implied pressure that you can put on from starting to reel in the leader can get them out of their comfort zone a little bit and force a mistake from the leader. But all I know is he's got to try something.
Yeah, there's no point sitting back there just riding around. You really got to keep pushing forward as much as you can, as we see Dennis coming around to knock down yet another lap. The 23 machine doing everything right in this one, just as we've seen many times this year so far. Oh, Nicholson very wide there, the back end stepping just outside of that cushion as that back wheel gets locked up into the braking zone. Dennis a little bit short over the swamp that time around. He's looking good. I think this one's coming to him.
Yeah, it looks like it is. He's got his line sorted well, and there is some slippery parts of the track, but it's not wet slippery anymore. It's hard pack slippery, which is a lot more predictable. And someone with the skill set of Byron Dennis, he's well and truly used to this, and it's very similar to what he's already raced on multiple times this year. Into the final turn, Great Line has a little bit of a look up. Last lap board out, 1 lap to go for the Gas rider, the factory Gas rider. Those yellow number 23s on the bike, denoting that he is still a junior, doing an exceptional job up against seniors, Danny Ham.
Nice line here to the inside, and great drive out of there. He's found himself just this little groove. It's what, maybe about 10 mil deep. That's all it is, but he's managing to get that rear wheel to sit into it nicely pretty early around that turn, and it's allowing him to turn that throttle on just a little bit harder than if you were just outside of that groove as he makes his way.
Now, I believe we may have lost our second place rider unless he's stretched the gap out that much, because as far as I could see back, I couldn't see our second place rider there.
Maybe right. Well, there's 4 riders just there and back a shot, so we may have had a problem for Nicholson, possibly.
And a nice, clean and easy win there for Byron Dennis in the MX3 final here tonight. All right, riders on the line for MX2 final. Far inside gate, Blake Fox. Next to him, just to the right, Nathan Crawford on the factory KTM machine. We see Blake Fox getting nice and hyped up there. Dylan Wills is just to the right in grid number 3. I'm going to pick a wild card here for jumping out of the gate and go Reed Taylor.
Reed Taylor, wow, okay, I'm going to stick with Yokoyama. I think he's been too solid so far. But you got to remember, Fox has just come off the track as well. So too Crawford. They both know the most recent conditions of the track. Fox found those good lines early on as well. So this is going to be a good one. There's plenty of talent out there. Whether they pick up these lines straight away, for the MX2 final, we are getting set and ready for this one.
And what I would like to just throw out there before the drop of the gate, remember Blake Fox corner, the left-hander before the first of the swamp jumps. If he doesn't get a hole shot, expect to see some passes there.
30-second board about to go sideways. We are getting set to get this one underway. The final one for these guys tonight. This is where it all counts as we look right now down to the start. All of the guys ready and willing to get going. Who's going to launch out first? Revs come up and the gates will go down. Fox with a small roll in. Crawford with a good jump. Wills also gets a good one out. And Taylor around the outside. Who's going to get this second turn? All important.
Oh, that was so close in that first turn, and Wills and Taylor almost come together. And once again, almost tagging bikes, but it's Nathan Crawford who will come out in first place. And And Dylan Wills
barges his way into second place.
Wow, that was a lot of moves going on, and also tagging the tough block a little bit there. But he's got his sights set on the race leader at the moment. Yokoyama slots into third place there, back to Blake Fox. So it's on, and Reed Taylor has made a pass on Blake Fox. He is not very happy to go from almost first place coming out of turn 1.
Well, we did mention it, or you mentioned it. Imagine if we saw Nathan Crawford after the horrible run he's had so far, comes out and wins this race. Well, right now, he is setting himself in the prime position to do so and starting to stretch out that lead over our second place of Wills, who is feeling the pressure from Yokoyama on the Kawasaki right behind him. Down on the inside, Reed Taylor just didn't get the line quite right going into that corner, grabs a front brake, and unfortunate for him, that's the end of this one.
Well, unfortunately, we've seen that quite a few times with Reed Taylor, that it's either chocolates or it's not chocolates, and he's on the deck. And unfortunately, that's what we saw right there. He was having a good night up until that point, but you can't blame him for giving it a red-hot go. That's all you can do. These races are too short to sit back there and not try. And that's what we're seeing from Yokoyama at the moment. He is having a real hard charge of trying to get onto the back of Dylan Wills at the moment. Now that pressure, if Willsy starts focusing too much on what's behind him, that's just going to allow Nathan Crawford to stretch out that lead even more. Crawford, as you mentioned, didn't have the best of nights going on so far, and he had to make his way into the final via the last chance qualifier, but it's all come together now. The only race that counts is the final.
Looking very comfortable in the lead. There's those ruts on the outside there that is throwing a little bit of chaos into these ruts. But he loves that outside line there. It's probably going to lose him a little bit of ground each time they come through there. Wills, beautiful, nice little back in.
Great, and he made up some time on Crawford right there. That was the best I've seen him do that Speedway corner all night.
I'd love to see a few more minutes of this race. Just let it go a little bit longer so that we can see how this one plays out. Will starting to find that form right now, but he's going to have to make it happen on this lap because we have the last lap board on right now.
And he knew it's coming. These guys have done that many races tonight that they can almost tell, all right, the last lap board's going to be coming up. Now, Willsy, where is he? He's dropped back just a tiny bit. He needs to do something cool here. And I just want to see him do this Speedway corner again like he did at the last lap. So we follow Nathan Crawford through. Willsy's kept a tight line through there. He's just looking a little looser, but he's still managing to look good. Yeah. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Oh, that might have been it. Yeah. Well, he's still pretty close, but I tell you, against the caliber of Nathan Crawford, I don't think he's going to be close enough.
It's not quite close enough here. Crawford's going to cover his line just enough in this final turn, and it's almost impossible to be able to cut back and do anything on that final turn. Dylan Wills from Yokoyama and back to Blake Fox. What a victory there. The winner of our MX2 final tonight here at the Australian Motocross Invitational, brought to you by AMX Superstores. Motocross Skins. What a win for Nathan Crawford.
Fans being treated some excellent racing here tonight in Nowra for the AMX Australian Motocross Invitational, Moto-X Skins, and our 450s, the big boys, and some 250s. The MX1 final is getting onto the line right now, Lee.
I'm intrigued with how they've lined themselves up here. We've got two big players on the inside. Aaron Tanti with grid number 1. Now, I'm not sure that that's the best line to be on. We were thinking grid 1 surely would be the best. I haven't seen not many hole shots from grid 1. I'm liking grid 2.
From the outside, if you don't get across to the inside, you've got no hope. But Mossy's been starting good. Again, look how far back he is. He's going to rely on this roll in as we are set to get the final race underway. Watch for Moss with the roll in. Oh, he jumps early, but he has made it work once again. And absolutely blistering out of the start as we see Tanti in second. Stike swings around the outside and puts Clout back there in fourth. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is the most, or the furthest back that we have seen Clout all night. In the third now.
Has there ever been more of a case of risking it for the biscuit? That was seriously 1 millimetre away from catching the gate and being caught in the grid.
There was a triple hesitation on that clutch coming into it. He doubted himself so many times. But we are set now for an excellent final. Few laps out of these guys. Clout needing to find some pace as he goes off track right there, just pushing it a little bit too wide. Moss just in front has all the pressure with Tanti on him.
Aaron Tanti is the one to keep an eye on because he's been able to hold inside lines better than anyone. It's just going to be a matter of if he can make it stick.
Oh, Clout unable to jump once again. That could be the end of it. That could be the end of the charge for the lead for Luke Clout. Again, off track.
All kinds of mistakes from Luke Clout. It's fallen apart at the seams at the moment, but the battle at the head of the pack between Aaron Tanti and Matt Moss is where it's at. From very wide, trying to cut back.
Yes.
Have a look at the corner speed from Tanti.
Yep, all these outside entries, trying to switch it back again right there. Moss not getting that run through here. Look to the inside in this one. Tanti is there. Can he control it? But he can't. Oh, Moss off the track. Hits the tough blocks on the way through and manages to hold it upright. And Tanti takes advantage of this. Moss not giving it up right now. Smashes down another one.
Here we come into the right-handed rut, and once they exit this rut, they will form into single file. Matt Moss will have no choice but to try to remount another challenge. Now, what can Tanti do from here? Can he keep a cool head? He's not used to winning championships and races in this MX1 category. Beautiful line out of that corner. Now, what can we see here on this super important Speedway corner? I think that's all she wrote.
Really hard in the position of Tanti at the moment. You've just made that pass. You know you've got Matt Moss right in behind you. You want to twist that throttle as hard as you can and try and run away, but that is only going to slow you down. Not in that corner, absolutely ripping it apart, but in these tight corners, it's really hard to control yourself and make sure you get that. As we go to a quick replay, here it is, Clout going on the outside, just keep an eye on him. He is going to run very wide, makes the mistake right there, and that's where, oh, he's gone down again.
Wow.
That's 3 in this race.
So this is all about Aaron Tanti at the moment. The freshly signed Monster Energy Yamaha rider, riding for CDR under the tutelage of Craig Dack, is showing us what it is all about at the moment. And he is just growing in confidence every single time he's been out there on the track. He's gotten better and better. He is clearly fast and confident on these flat corners, but he's charging jumps and berms like no one else on the track. Is this a little bit of an insight into the Tanti we're about to see come Pro MX? Has CDR Yamaha brought the confidence out in him? Victory here, 3 minutes plus a lap and a win in the MX1 main event, the AMX Superstores Australian Motocross Invitational. What a win from this young upstart, Aaron Tanti. He is absolutely pumped. All right, guys, time to go down to Danny Ham, who's with our place getters.
Luke, 3rd place tonight. You haven't been into motocross for quite some time, really. When was the last time you did a gate drop? And then the starts to that position, how do you feel?
The gate drop would have been about 5 years, and this is probably my 3rd ride in 8 months. Definitely got talked into it by my boy Brownie. I just like to thank everyone for coming out. I just like to thank, you know, 26 Landscapes, that's all me, and brought this gear on MX Store last week. It showed up in time, and that's all I want to thank. No one really, just myself and just all my close friends were backing me all the way, and definitely had fun tonight.
Well, that was my next question. Fun. It looked like it was a blast out there.
Definitely was a blast, and yeah, I made the decision pretty well late last year to, you know, pack it up really and start my business and the next venture after racing. But you know, I still like riding bike and just still having fun. But you know, racing's just gone for me now. But definitely like dusting the boots off and doing these one-off stuff and having a bit of fun with the boys.
Congratulations, mate. 3rd place tonight, Luke Stike.
Thank you.
And 2nd place tonight, Matt Moss. Mate, what a great battle that was between you two.
Yeah, it was a good race. It's sort of, the whole shots are like, on this sort of style of race, it's like it's a blessing to be out in front, but it's like a curse because everything's sort of 90 and switchback. So I was sort of riding so defensive, and the person behind, he had a good, like there was 3rd place was pretty far back, so he could open up his line. So oh, it was good event. It's good to go racing. I'm happy. I got a smile on my face. My family's here. We took it to the factory guys on the dead stock bike, and I like the guys from Send It, new sponsor on board, and the Pascal crew. This is where I work every day, so working with all the boys, they come out here and bring their machines to build this track, and I'm just loving it. I'm enjoying racing, my wife and kids, and mate, it's just a good time. I'm just happy to be here.
2nd place tonight, Matt Moss. And our winner today on the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha, Aaron Tanti. Congratulations, mate. What a win.
Yeah, thank you.
you know, the event was awesome. I had a pretty stellar day. I won every race I went in. I won my 3 heat races, and I won the main event. And you know, I rode really well. I never started out in first in any of the races. I always made a pass to get into the lead. So yeah, super happy to get this little hit out before the MX Nationals start in 5 weeks. And you know, it was just an awesome event, and the crowd here is just amazing here at Nowra. It's good to see.
It's not exactly the same as Motocross Nationals, but surely this has got to bring up some confidence so that when we do turn up to those races, you're ready to go.
Yeah, like it's not what we like race usually with the motocross and stuff, but this stuff is like, we got a lot of gate drops tonight. That's always good practice, like nailing them starts, because it's so important. And just the high intensity, it was short races, but yeah, our heart rates were definitely peaking.
Congratulations, mate. The winner tonight, Aaron Tanti on the Yamaha.
Thank you.
Well, sensational job there by our overall winner in the MX1 category, Aaron Tanti on the CDR Monster Energy Yamaha. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Danny Ham and myself, would like to thank you so much for joining us here for the AMX Superstores Australian Motocross Invitational, the Motocross Skins. Another huge thank you to our major sponsors, AMX Superstores, Shannon's Insurance, Send It Energy Drink, Maxxis Tyres, and Moto-X Oils. I hope you join us next time.